really bizarre and quite annoying trend that tends to happen with some people on the left, that just because Biden is garbage when it comes to Gaza somehow means that Trump is going to be better. I am getting really tired of seeing some folks who purport to be on the left claim that Trump was anti-war and that somehow, because Biden has been such a monster on this, that Trump would be a better alternative. No! Trump says that he would let Netanyahu finish the job in Gaza and says Biden is so bad for Israel. Apparently, some of you don't keep tabs on right-wing media, because what some of you are failing to understand is that the criticism of Biden from the right wing, including Trump, is that he's not vicious enough, that he's not capitulating to Netanyahu enough, which I know, it's hard to understand that because it's such a wild fucking accusation. Biden is bent over backwards to do exactly what Netanyahu wants. Writing in blank fucking checks, not criticizing him in public, doing every single thing that Israel wants him to do, sending his fucking spokespeople and the fucking State Department to come out and lie on behalf of Israel and apologize on behalf of the IOF. Biden has done nothing but fucking capitulate to them. But to the right wing, it's not enough. According to the delusional lunatic right-wingers, Biden has been soft on it. He hasn't supported Israel enough. He's been so bad for Israel. He's been so hard on Netanyahu. That is insane. That's mental. So I need you to understand, for those of you who are trying to make this happen, that according to the right, the conservative Zionist movement, the Republicans, the criticism of Biden on how he has handled this is not because he's allowed for Netanyahu to continue this genocide without any checks, without conditioning aid, without stopping it. That's not the criticism. The criticism from them is that he is not letting Israel do enough to wipe out the Palestinians. I need you guys to have some nuance in your thinking. Just because Biden is trash doesn't make Trump good. In the same way that I keep telling you guys that just because Biden is trash on Gaza doesn't mean RFK is any better. Seriously, please look into RFK's record. Google some of his interviews. Just go on Twitter and put in RFK Israel and see some of the deranged things that he said about it. If you don't want to vote for Biden because of the way that he has okayed and greenlit this genocide, that is understandable. I understand. What I don't understand and what I will not accept is the idea that just because Biden is trash, that somehow makes the other lunatic Zionist right-wingers or people like RFK a better alternative. That we now have to whitewash Trump's record and pretend like Trump didn't do shit to make this worse. That he wasn't the one who did the Abraham Accords. That he wasn't the one that moved the embassy to Jerusalem. That he wasn't the one that recognized the Golan Heights. That he also didn't cut funding for UNRWA as soon as he came into office. Like he wasn't the one who was financially beholden to Sheldon Adelson, who was the one who wanted him to rip up the Iran deal and move the embassy to Jerusalem, which he promptly did when he got into office. And people seem to not understand the correlation between ripping up the Iran deal and the Abraham Accords and how we got to October 7th and its aftermath. Because we seem to have this like disconnect for people in our politics where we think that every single thing a president does in their term only lasts and stops at the end of their term. As if it wasn't a fucking disaster that he ripped up the Iran deal that was working, and as if those consequences don't carry over into the next administration. I don't know why people do that with fucking everything. Like, you think everything Trump did, it just stopped when he left office? Like, there wasn't carryover effects into Biden's administration? People do the same shit with the economy and with everything else. Like, they act like things don't have effects that come into being after a person leaves office. Like Trump destroying the economy during COVID and then everyone acting like it was just Biden that caused inflation, as if Trump's policies didn't have effects going into the next administration. Like, what the fuck? And here he is in a recent interview bragging about how much better he was for Israel.
See those Palestinian marches. Even I'm amazed at how many people are in those marches. And guys like Schumer see that. And to him, it's votes. I think it's votes more than anything else, because he was always pro-Israel. He's very anti-Israel now. Any Jewish person that votes for Democrats hates their religion. They hate everything about Israel, and they should be ashamed of themselves.
Any Jewish person that votes for a Democrat hates Israel and should be ashamed of themselves. Unironically anti-Semitic to say that. Because what you're saying is that a Jewish American should have more loyalty to the state in the government of a foreign country than they should to their own. Why are Jewish Americans being told that they need to have allegiance to a foreign government? What he did say that was true there was that Schumer is just doing this because he is trying to pander. That's true. Then, of course, he followed it up with a lie because Trump can't not lie and says that Schumer's now anti-Israel. LOL! There is no bigger simp for the Israeli lobby in Congress than Chuck Schumer. Literally none. So this idea that he's come the fuck on. So let's just be clear about Trump's record when it comes to Israel, Trump's record when it comes to all policy in the Middle East, who Trump is, and who he serves. Let's not get it twisted and act like that just because Biden bad means Trump good. Trump is a monster. And let's also not forget that his lunatic, genocidal, psychotic Zionist son-in-law worked in the administration to help marginalize the Palestinians even further. Not to mention the psychotic and deranged interview he just gave at Harvard. Trump can pretend, like he always does, that he's not beholden to anyone. He's not in the packet of, get the fuck out of here. Trump, like all U.S. presidents, is firmly in the pocket of the Israeli lobby and will bow down to do anything that Netanyahu says, just like Biden, just like the rest of them. So please, do not come to me ever and say that Trump somehow is going to be better when it comes to Gaza. And then Ben Shapiro echoes the same thing because he thinks he's in charge of everybody's Jewishness, that if you vote Democrat, it's because you don't care about Israel. Blah, blah, blah. Why do Jewish people or any Democrat have to vote based on a foreign country? Is the question.
And he was making a point that, frankly, I have made myself, which is that Jews who are voting Democrat do not understand the Democratic Party at this point. They do not understand that the Democratic Party is a wildly anti-Israel party, that it is split at best between moderates on Israel and radicals who hate Israel. Elhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, these are people who are honored in the halls of Congress. Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. It is Democrat senators right now who are attempting to withdraw military aid as Israel tries to finish off a terrorist group that killed 1,200 Israelis on October 7th and took 250 hostage and currently holds at least 50 more hostages right now. That is the Biden administration that's doing that. The Biden administration, they unleashed Chuck Schumer to try to overthrow the democratically elected government of Israel right now. He literally called for new elections and said that Bibi Netanyahu was the problem in a conflict between a democratically elected ally of the United States and an actual honest-to-God America-hating terrorist group. That was Chuck Schumer who was doing that. It is Joe Biden who right now is putting significant pressure on Netanyahu. Okay, but Donald Trump mentions this and he says, Jews should not vote Democrat based on this. If you're a Jew and you're voting Democrat, it's because either you don't understand what's going on or you don't care about what's going on. He happens to be correct about that.
Why are you telling American Jewish people that they have to vote on the interests of Israel? I will leave you with this.
Mentions this and he says, Jews should not vote Democrat based on this. If you're a Jew and you're voting Democrat, it's because either you don't understand what's going on or you don't care about what's going on. He happens to be correct about that. He happens to be correct about that. Donald Trump is the single most pro-Israel president of my lifetime, bar none. There is no comparison. Joe Biden has been shockingly derelict in his inability to explain a basic moral difference between a democratic state that is an American ally and that actually is in America's interests and a terrorist group that our American ally is attempting to destroy right now.
We all agree that Joe Biden has been monstrous on this. So the fact that Ben Shapiro and the right wing think that he's been weak and derelict should terrify you. If Ben Shapiro, who is one of the most right-wing extremists, zealot, Arab-hating, Palestinian erasing, conservative Zionist extremist is telling you that you need to vote for Trump because he's the most pro-Israel president of his lifetime, I would say believe him and run.